Ladies and gentlemen, today is a very sad day. We're going to be selling one of our Saabs, and it's actually pulling up right here behind me. We're going to talk a bit about this car, what we're asking, all the work we've done to it, coming up in today's video, so stay tuned. This is our 2003 Saab 9-3. Lucas and I saved just shy of a year ago. And well, we finally got it all fixed up and it's time to sell it. So we bought this car initially from one of my subscribers who actually lived very close to us, and it had a blown transmission. We picked it up with a U-Haul, took it up to Lucas's shop, and replaced a lower mileage engine and transmission into it. So the body has about 175,000 miles on it. This engine and transmission have about 125,000 on them. So we start this car up here and see just under 175,000 miles on it. We recently gave the AC a recharge. So it's got cold AC for the summer.
As Jacob mentioned, with this car, we did put a new motor and transmission in it. So with that, we got all the updates for the software for the new motor. It's running great. We did have to fix a couple of leaks, starting up top with the valve cover gasket. We got a new one in there, and then coming over to the power steering pump and the vacuum pump, both of those got resealed. From there, we had another leak, the oil pan. So we dropped the oil pan and got a new oil level sensor in there. And then lastly, the axle seals to the transmission. It got new axle seals, so she's leak free and she's running pretty well.
Yeah, so since we've done all those repairs, Lucas has been driving it around a couple times a week. He's put about 1,000 miles on it. No check engine lights, no new leaks. I mean, it's hard to have something leak when we've resealed just about everything on this motor. Beyond that, this car also has brand new tires on it. So you can see right here, these tires have probably about 1,000 miles on them. The wheels do have just a little bit of curb rash, unfortunately, but they are the black Aero wheels, which look really good on the black paint. Our brake pads are just about new as well.
With everything else we've done to the car, we actually did a full Aero interior swap as well. So it's got the Aero steering wheel, Aero front and rear seats. Couldn't be happier with the way this car turned out.
So these Aero seats were swapped out of another Aero, obviously. You can tell it's got one tiny little rip on the outer bolster there, but besides that, these seats clean up really well. The bolsters aren't smashed or saggy or anything like that. Steering wheel works great. I don't believe we programmed the paddle shifters, but we can do that for the buyer if they're willing. And speaking of buyer, we did want to discuss our asking price on this before we continue with some description of the car. You can see this car is in pretty good shape cosmetically. We're going to be asking $3,500 for this car. We think it's pretty reasonable given all the work that's gone into it. Exterior wise, I'd say this car is probably about an 8.5 out of 10. You can see it has some spots just where it's starting to fade. This right here and the roof are by far the worst of it. The paint on the rest of the car is pretty solid. I mean, you can see my reflection right there. There's some hard water spots there we need to clean off. But overall, this car is in great condition mechanically and cosmetically. This car also does have a restored salvage title on it. We believe it was hit on this front corner over here at one point with the hood closed. I'll put a picture on the screen actually. You can see it's just ever so slightly misaligned. The car drives straight. You can tell it's all been professionally repaired. Everything's been repainted to match. So I wouldn't have any concern with it being a salvage title car. We wouldn't have picked it up in the first place if it was any sort of sketchy salvage title car, but that is just a detail I wanted to add in here.
Another thing with this car that we did replace was the ECU. So on the last ECU, we were fighting a plausibility fault code for the longest time, and we eventually just went and replaced the ECU overall. We did get a stage 1 tune through HB Saabs, and it's got the fan mod, which keeps the fan running after the car shuts off. So if you live in Arizona, that's huge for keeping your car cool. So yeah, guys, other than that, she's turnkey ready to go.
Speaking of keys, we only have one key for the car, unfortunately, but if the new owner decides to get a second key for it, we can obviously assist with getting that programmed and married to the car. This car does have a 2.0 T badge on it, the small T, meaning it's a linear for some reason. Not quite sure why. It does have a TD04, a big T, so it had the 210 horsepower stock, about 250 with the tune now. So I think without further ado, let's go take this car for a quick spin. We'll show you guys how it drives and talk a little bit more about the interior and some of the problems we fixed in there. Our AC is blowing cold. This is one of the recent issues that we got to give all credit to Lucas for fixing. So the problem we had was the AC controls would come on, but nothing would happen. It turns out that the blower motor resistor was bad, and it was actually wired improperly by one of the previous owners. So that's why it wasn't working. So Lucas repinned the whole thing and got it fixed. Now we have some cold AC blowing.
So we chased down so many issues on this car, one of which being, you know, the radio. We tried to get it going. We got it on a couple times, but unfortunately, we exhausted all of our patience with it. We think we chased it down to either being a bad AMP2 or OnStar module in the rear of the car. So hopefully that'll help with the next guy that gets the car. But other than that, the cup holder doesn't work, which is, you know, kind of a common issue. And then lastly, the right blinker is just kind of intermittent. So it'll work like it is now, but sometimes it just needs an extra push over here on the stock. And I think that's just got to do with the contacts on the inside.
Just all typical NG93 things.
Oh yeah.
So we'll just go through the gears here, show you guys how it drives and shifts with the new transmission.
Yeah, and like we said, we got all the software updates. It's a 2011 motor and trans in a 2003 body, so everything's up to date with the newest Saab models, and it runs and drives great.
Really is going to make a good commuter for someone.
Hoping we can find a home for it locally, but if one of you guys out there ends up picking it up, we'd be more than happy to help coordinate getting it shipped out of state. So.
Right. And another thing we replaced, this interior had a bunch of gross cracked pieces down here. So like all these covers and things were replaced. You guys might remember in the transformation video with the interior, I'll link that in the top corner. We did so much on this to actually make it a nice livable space to actually want to sit in and drive the car. But the reason why I wanted to sort of do this driving video as well is just because the last two Saabs I sold, my Turbo X and then my Dame, both people lived on the other side of the country and kind of bought it sight unseen. Obviously they'd seen all the videos in my for sale video as well, but I want to be as detailed as I can in case you're interested and you're not local.
So yeah, boost great, no misfires, no more check engine lights, and like I said, you know, we made sure to drive the car around, especially after installing the new ECU, to make sure that plausibility fault code didn't return.
And it's been probably 1,000 miles since that.
Yep.
Running great. If any of you are interested in purchasing this 9.3 from us, you can contact either Lucas or myself. We'll probably have an actual for sale ad up that I will link in the description. And I'll put both of our Instagrams on the screen right here. If you don't have Instagram, I'll also put our emails in the description on the screen as well, so that way you can contact us that way. But with that being said, once again, $3,500 is what we're looking for. We think it's well worth it for all the work, all the new parts, everything that's in it. It's going to make a great daily driver and 9.3 for someone. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Thanks to Lucas as always.
Thanks guys, appreciate it.
For all of his awesome hard work on this car. Check out Saving Saabs if you guys need help fixing your cars. I'll see you all next time.